This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
WWE basically wants to become the next Marvel, which actually is kind of sounds strange, but when you consider Vince McMahon, he has always wanted the WWE to be more than just the wrestling brand. I think What Culture said it best. There's not so much an appreciation for the second W and more of an appreciation inside WWE for the E.
Nick Morganson.
I think there's a fine line when it comes to mental health and anxiety issues. If someone is telling you openly from 2018 on that they have a depression issue, you need to respect it.
And Nick Federa.
He's basically coming out to tell us that he's invested most of his money in Bitcoin.
Empty the Bench starts now.
You could say Adam Silver is living rent-free in LeBron James's head.
And you know what? We're living rent-free in your head. Welcome to Empty the Bench, episode number 89. Tom Albano here along with Nick Morganson and Nick Federa. Gentlemen, we have a lot of NBA talk to talk about later on in the show, so that'll be a lot of fun. You're also going to see me probably melt down and basically this might be the end for me because I'll have to talk about Mayweather versus Paul again, which I've already done on another podcast this week.
So, I think all three of us are due for at least one meltdown for this episode. So, which meltdown are we going to start with?
Well, I've got a feeling we're all going to melt down with this first topic here. Because, gentlemen, we have to talk about something that's, we're just going to basically call it sticky stuff.
Oh, no. Can we stop with sticky stuff, please?
And we've just been banned.
Why can't it be maple syrup that's sticky?
We've just been banned. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. See ya.
Hey, wait.
Hey, it happens.
All right. So let's talk about the sticky stuff. Let's talk about Gerrit Cole. And you know what? For giggles, let's talk about Pete Alonso as well. Conspiracy, C-O-N-spiracy.
So, context is necessary. So, the story in recent weeks is that offense is down throughout MLB. I think the batting average for the league is like 220-something.
In June. In mid-June.
So, SI, the Sports Illustrated, had put out a story saying that making a wide range of accusations, including that 70% of pitchers today are using sticky stuff to, meaning like a combination of rosin and sunscreen. And go ahead.
Well, okay. I just wanted to say one thing, and I know we had an argument about this in our pre-show meetings. I don't know where these exact numbers are coming from. I know it's out there, but we don't have. But we need to clarify when we're talking about this story that we don't have 100% proof and accurate numbers to actually say that we know the numbers.
Again, the big A, allegedly.
Allegedly, and it's a report from Sports Illustrated, which I was going to say. Now, Sports Illustrated, we're talking about the issues with Major League Baseball today. Sports Illustrated has a history of, in recent times, of reporting on stuff like this. They are the ones who basically have reported over the last couple of years that the baseballs were juiced in 19 and 20 and have been deadened for this baseball season.
Right.
Now, basically what that means is the stitches are wound tighter when the balls are juiced, and they're slackened a little bit when they're deadened, I think.
See, the frustration I have with this whole story, we're going to get into it, is so we're in 2019, which Pete Alonso is questioning, by the way, in his rookie season that had 53 home runs. So he's questioning a season where he hit 53 home runs.
What?
I
was going to say, do we want to get into the Gerrit Cole part first or the Pete Alonso part?
Oh, no, I'm pointing out kind of the structure where we're going with this, which is basically you're going to have hitters that complain when the ball is not going out of the park, and then you're going to have pitchers complain when the ball is going out of the park. So it doesn't matter. You're going to have one side arguing that offense or defense is up. So it doesn't matter.
Well, the reason that Gerrit Cole is being mentioned in this is because Trevor Bauer has said that he thinks that when Gerrit Cole was a member of the Astros in 17?
17.
Yes, 17, that he learned how to cheat by increasing spin rate by using
Spite
adhesive.
attack. Spite attack. Yeah.
Spite attack to make the ball spin more.
And Josh Donaldson was making complaints about pitchers in general, but he name dropped Gerrit Cole.
He name dropped Gerrit Cole specifically.
And by the way, that was completely inappropriate on Josh Donaldson's part to be calling out names the way he did. By the way, excuse me, you could say that, is this unwritten rule that you're not supposed to call out players that could be doing things or not doing things? That's all up for discussion.
I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised because Gerrit Cole is the big money pitcher of baseball these days. And
he plays for the Yankees. He has
plays for the Yankees.
Contract.
So basically, Josh Donaldson is jealous of Gerrit Cole's situation.
Well, he reckoned
that far.
No, he is.
Well, in a follow-up comment, he basically apologized and said he shouldn't have named Gerrit Cole specifically.
When he meant everybody.
In general.
So wait a minute. Let's walk back the comment after we already made it, right? That's what that was.
Technically, it's not a 100% walk back because he's standing by that he thinks that pitchers are using.
But the other reason, well, yes, but at the same time, then it led to one of our radio hosts locally here in New York, Michael Kay, to go out and basically, and it got misconstrued, by the way. Let me talk about that first, because everyone thought that he said Gerrit Cole should drill Josh Donaldson in the ribs. No, that's not what he said. What he was interpreting is that if he was Gerrit Cole, he would have drilled Josh Donaldson in the ribs. Now,
which is a dumb thing to say anyway.
Right. First of all, as there's a fine line because he's a radio host on ESPN, but he's also the Yankee announcer on TV.
It's irresponsible, is what it is.
It's irresponsible, and number two, I think it's even irresponsible. I know shouldn't get into our team and like worrying about our team and the record and everything, but our team already has lost our number 2 pitcher, Corey Kluber, for quite some time, like not till July, August, maybe even for the rest of the season. You don't want something like that to happen, cause a brawl, and then your number 1 gets suspended, and you're without your top 2 pitchers for a number of time. Especially when a team like the Yankees, who are supposed to be one of the best in baseball, are barely above 500 at this point.
Well, they're not hitting either. That's another issue. But
I mean, they've been hitting this past series in Minnesota, but that's just Minnesota. But the point that we want to make with Gerrit Cole is that he was before his stardom in Detroit, was it?
Yeah.
Or before his start in Detroit, he was asked directly by Ken Davidoff of the New York Post, do you use Spite Attack, which is the substance that he is accused of using?
It was a completely inappropriate question in every regard.
He mamboed around the question.
No, but even though Gerrit Cole was wrong for the way he answered the question, and by the way, I'm going to call out Yankee PR too, because they obviously didn't prepare him knowing that these questions were coming. But
they obviously, how do you not? Not?
And you're the PR for the New York Yankees. You're supposed to be some of the best public relations people in the game.
They have been.
Supposed to.
But I think Ken Davidoff's question, and I've had some frustrations with Ken Davidoff in the past, which we're not going to talk about. But Ken Davidoff was completely out of line with the inappropriate, as Nick calls it, gotcha question.
It was a gotcha question, but I understand the intent behind the question. He could have phrased it a little better.
But Tom and I talked about this last week, how these press conferences, whether it's pre or post press conferences, are probably the worst press conferences in all of sports because all they're looking to do is gouge at these athletes.
But at the same rate, Yankees PR should have done a lot better.
They should have done a lot
Agreed.
better for that because they had to have known it was coming.
But I do think it was a little bit off guard that question was asked.
Which brings us, of course, to Mr. Pete Alonso, the first baseman for the New York Mets, and he believes that the MLB is doing this on purpose because there are a lot of hitters coming up in the free agency this year.
Yeah, basically, Sports Illustrated talked about this too. That in 19 and 20, when baseballs have been reported to have been juiced, a lot of the big name free agents coming up in those off seasons were pitchers like Gerrit Cole, like Trevor Bauer. And now in the off season coming up following this 2021 season, like the top 8 free agents are or position players, guys who
Shortstop.
hit and field, shortstops, first basemen, outfielders.
So he's accusing them of screwing with the baseball, therefore screwing with the market.
And screw, yeah.
The one thing that's inappropriate, and I would have been okay if Pete Alonso just made his quotes and got out of there, but he's saying that it's a fact. That's inappropriate. You can't say something is a fact unless you provide the data necessary.
I would not exactly say, I wouldn't put it, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, is that I wouldn't put it past MLB to do such a thing. Because owners do collude. They have a history of doing such things.
The free agency collusion in the 1980s.
All right, but
yes, the one thing they love more than screwing each other over is screwing over their employees.
No, but that's fine. But at the same time, if that's proven that they're effing with free agency, you might as well go to Major League Baseball now and say baseball is canceled for the next 2 or 3 years, because you're going to have a massive conspiracy theory leading to negotiations breaking down.
And this leads me to the point that I'm trying to make with this whole sticky stuff situation. If, in fact, you do have proof that this was going on, you can't tell me that the MLB was not completely aware of it, or at least look the other way, just like they did with steroids.
Money! It's all about the money.
And you know what? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything because they couldn't.
I was gonna say, first of all, we only have allegations for the 2019 season onward. So I get where you're saying, Nick, of maybe Alonso's going too far, because I'd say to say year in year out they're messing with the baseballs, like to say they were messing with the baseballs in 2010, I'm not sure. But if we have these reports over the last few years that the baseballs are being messed with, it's kind of hard. And now bringing Pete Alonso into the sticky stuff debate, Pete Alonso is saying that basically he's for it. He has no problem with pitchers.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, F it. Just let them use this stuff rather than trying to police every player. And now they're talking about setting up checkpoints for the starting pitcher. So does that mean that when they come out of their start, you're going to have to go frisk a starting pitcher when they come out of a game?
Metal detector to make sure they don't have... Oh, so, no! I was just eating Rice Krispie treats.
Which is also kind of ironic because, we're talking about pitchers using the substances, for like grip reasons.
Pytar!
What about Pytar?
They're all rules against this. They just didn't enforce them.
I mean, do we need to go all the way back to, what was it,
George Brett?
Yeah, 1980s.
Again, this is a demon of their own making. You guys understand that, right?
Yes.
I'm just tired of the way this is. F it. Just let them use the substances. I don't care.
And the managers are going to be, I'd say, I can't speak for the Tony La Russas of the world, but there will be managers who basically will not complain, because if this is true, and the common belief is everybody in Major League Baseball these days is a cheater and they're all using it, they're not going to sell their own players, the possibility of their own teammates out to call out another person.
Which is why it's unfair to do it to Gerrit Cole, because to do that and only single him out.
Let's check the Twins pitchers.
Yeah, let's check everybody.
Forget Twins and Yankees. You might as well just check all of Major League Baseball.
That's what I'm saying.
And the minor league system. You might as well check the minor league system while you're at it also.
And by the way, Alex Cora has basically come out and said he's not going to say anything because he's not in the right to say anything. And he's right, because imagine if Cora or Hinch complained about
It'll be the worst day in the world of like political television and entertainment television and sports television. If we see, or late night television, if we see a story that Alex Cora and AJ Hinch come out and complain about this, it's going to be hypocrite of the century.
It would lead to the literal death of irony, meaning the textbook definition of irony would literally be erased from every dictionary around the world.
So guys, I mean, just looking at this story, all the circumstances involved, all these theories, the money potentially being messed with, talking about MLB potentially turning up blind eye. I mean, think about this. Let's add one more wrinkle to the offseason. Coming up in 2022, we got A-Rod and Big Papi now coming up for Hall of Fame. We got the last years for the likes of Bond and Clemens and Schilling. Guys,
but those are different.
No, but my point But it plays into the part of basically baseball causing problems for themselves down the line.
Yes, every demon that they spend millions of dollars trying to figure out what's wrong with baseball. How can we allow baseball to grow at the rate that NBA has?
And now
it's because of problems that you created.
And now we're talking about, maybe to make up for what's going with the pitchers, we're going to move the foot mound back a foot.
We're going to move the mound back a few feet.
That's not helping.
We're going to have them actually be able to plug people.
Guys,
baseball.
Wait, time out. I need to say one thing, and I'll let you finish, which is the only reason they're moving the mound back is because they don't want to go after the people who are committing these crimes, issues of cheating. They're trying to compensate because these guys are throwing harder. And
you know what's wrong with MLB? You know,
Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball is what's wrong with it.
And you know what?
This sport, no, Nick, I'm saying this right now. This sport is going to die.
It's because, and it's entirely self-inflicted wound.
And you know what I hate about this? Everyone's going to come out and say, "Oh, this is the tinfoil hat theory." It's not the tinfoil hat theory.
Hat when you have evidence.
It's not. I was going to say, if you want to believe about regardless of whether you want to believe about the substances or the or the cheating and everything, the problem is you're seeing it right now with this Pete Alonso thing. It plays right into my proof of my belief that players hate their own union. The league and the union are having problems. How the fuck are we going to have a 2022 season? How is this going to start on time?
I don't fucking know.
Let me clarify.
I really don't.
It's not that they hate their union. It's that they hate Major League Baseball. That's who they hate.
No, I think some players are still mad at the union. Over going back to the whole Astro scandal. I think there's still some.
You mean
bitter feelings
there.
You're saying because the union was protecting the Astros. I mean, but there's no way. I mean, you're talking about foreign substance. Actually, I don't even know. Would you call this a foreign substance? I wouldn't.
I mean, technically, since you're using the substance to doctor the ball and to change the way that it behaves when you throw it.
But at the same rate, we don't need. Nick, you mentioned it. These batters getting hit with 90-mile-per-hour fastballs in the face with. Didn't that just happen recently?
Yes. Well, you're talking about Kevin Pillar with the Mets. But let me ask something. So taking spit and taking sweat, is that considered foreign substance?
Yes.
Yes.
How?
Because, again, back in the dead ball era, they used to have the spitball.
No, I know they had the spitball, but I'm saying I don't know if that's considered foreign substance. It's water.
Yes. But it is technically considered anything that's not rosin that alters the way that the ball behaves when you throw it is technically considered a quote-unquote foreign substance.
Well, wait a minute. You have rosin and polymers in Spite Attack, so technically it is a foreign substance.
Again, you're getting into real ticky-tack stuff, but you're running into the very contradiction that MLB finds itself in. They're tying themselves in nuts.
No, ticky. So about sticky stuff, we're saying ticky.
Yeah. Ticky tack. Yeah, you're getting into real ticky tack territory.
I'm doing this anyway because I have control. I have control over it. So he can't speak now for 2 seconds. I'm controlling this because that was a horrible joke. Okay, I'm done now.
Okay. Did you hear clearly? It's still okay. Never mind. For whatever reason, the pop-up never went away.
Oh, all right, whatever. But I'm so tired of this situation where. Just F it. Let them use the damn substances. It's not going to affect it by as much as they're saying that it's going to affect.
Guys, this is such a stupid controversy. We're getting into ridiculous.
They're comparing this to steroids. Steroids. It's just not steroids.
Again, the the greatest threat to Major League Baseball is Major League Baseball.
Fire Rob Manfred already. Just I'm done with it all.
Get Tony Clark out of there too while we're at it.
Well, they're too busy dealing with a $100 million lawsuit from the Job Creators Network because they moved the game out of Atlanta, for crying out loud. How many bad situations do you have to deal with here? What's next? Are the players going to sue Major League Baseball because they feel like they're not getting their proper due?
Can we just say Major League Baseball itself is a PR nightmare?
You know what? I'm going to say that the players are living rent-free in Rob Manfred's head right now. How about that?
You know what? Just for that, now you're muted for 2 seconds. All right. Now let's talk about. I can't believe I have to talk about this again. I don't want to. 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 I don't want to.
So, yes, we had the Floyd Mayweather fight versus Logan Paul, if you want to call it a fight, because there was no scoring, no judges, no anything. And basically, Logan Paul comes out and says, I won.
See, I'd say this is a mockery of boxing, but I'm not even sure what boxing's supposed to be anymore.
I don't know what boxing is supposed to be.
Can you tell me? Seriously, Mr. Combat Reporter, can you tell me what the fuck is going on here?
Okay, so let me try to recap this fight as best as possible. So Logan Paul comes out. It's an 8-round fight. It's 8 3-minute rounds. So Logan Paul comes out in the first round. He's swinging away. He basically wants to end the fight early. He wants to come out and be strong and make a statement. And he does this for the first couple of rounds. Then as we get into the third round, he's gassed.
Wait a minute. So he's basically swinging like a bad version of Tickle Me Elmo.
Flat fight.
I would say the nerd fight where they're...
But you know what's weird though? I thought I saw Logan, I don't know which round it was, like get a pop on Mayweather's cheek.
He did.
Pretty good.
Again, he did. But then the third round came around and you could see he was tired. And that's when Mayweather went to work. And he's
over under how many rounds it took for Mayweather to start hugging Logan Paul.
Okay, let me get into everything. I'm still recapping.
Let him whine.
So Mayweather,
let him finish.
So Mayweather starts getting in, starts doing his thing. Round 3, round 4. We're thinking, okay, come round 5, round 6, round 7, we're gonna see the stoppage. We're gonna see the referee come in and wave it off. And no, Logan Paul manages to hang on. And then round 7 comes around, the last 2 rounds, and nothing. Basically, it becomes now that Floyd technically has won 4 rounds, is basically going to win the decision. Because if this was a boxing fight, he would have won by decision. We see the old classic Mayweather, what he used to do in the second half of his fights when he was an active boxer.
Hugging people.
Yeah.
My favorite.
The clinch fest.
It's like the I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
If he wanted to hug people so much, maybe he should have just gone to like a family reunion, not a boxing match.
So basically, the fight goes the distance, and like you said, technically it's a draw because there is no, like, a knockout could have happened, but there's no official winner. There are no judges. It's an exhibition bout, so this doesn't go on either guy's record.
Was that a referee? Who was that in the?
It was a referee. It was a referee.
So what was he there just to make sure that no one had a dirty hit or something?
Basically, nobody had a dirty hit. If there needed to be a stoppage, like if somebody took too much damage, that's it, because knockouts and TKOs were still allowed.
You know why they did this? Because you have to get into the whole Showtime BS, because that was ridiculous also. But
the fact that anybody who ordered the pay-per-view via the Showtime app, the app crashed constantly, so many people, my own editor at Fansided included, couldn't watch a minute of the pay-per-view. You know what my favorite thing was? Just go on Twitter. You were getting play-by-play of it anyway. Yeah,
whether you wanted to or not.
And that same theory will be applied tonight at UFC 263.
But that is essentially those are essentially the watchwords of American fight sports at this present moment, whether you want to or not.
So here's basically
I have a question to ask you, because I want to ask about this, which is, so you're seeing fights like Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. You saw Chad Ochocinco in a fight.
An exhibition fight.
And then you're seeing a bunch of... What?
Oh, hang on. You were lagging for a second. Sorry. But yeah, we got YouTubers versus TikTok stars card tonight, which I know nothing about. We got Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. Like, he fought Ben Askren, knocked him out. Now he's going to take on Ben's friend Tyron Woodley, the former UFC welterweight champion. We just had a card we had a card just the other night where it was made by Oscar De La Hoya, where they basically, in an MMA fight, had the fighting health, the health bars and the fighting games on as graphics, which rubs me the wrong way because you can't use those in an actual fight. And last night, guys, we had Lamar Odom versus Aaron Carter with Chuck Liddell as the referee.
Wait a minute.
You couldn't get Mills Lane?
Wait, you mean Aaron Carter stopped himself from doing porn to go and do a fight?
To go and get knocked out by Lamar Odom.
You know what this is?
And I can't help but think, when I say Lamar Odom, I can't help but think of Stephen A. Smith's infamous clip.
You know
what this is, guys? This is live-action celebrity deathmatch.
No. And Tom, you're going to hate me when I say this, but basically the fight between Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter, you can basically say was softcore.
I wonder if Lamar Odom was on crack for this fight. Because again, I can't die. Because again, I can't think of Lamar Odom without thinking of Stephen A. Smith going, Lamar Odom, who was on crack.
It's one of the best lines he's ever said of all time. That and blueberries.
So, anyways, gentlemen,
it's a parade of weirdos. It really
gentlemen,
is.
I am no longer surprised. I feel like, I'm going to try to think, because I know you're going to ask me, and I'm going to try to word this as best as possible. Freak show fights have been a common thing in combat sports.
Yeah, but it's come back in a massive way.
Well, let me explain. So, but the thing is, there were always one-offs. When we had Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, it was because it was, two of the biggest names of their sports. We had never seen a mixed martial arts guy cross over into boxing, at least not on the level that Conor McGregor and his star and Floyd Mayweather and his star.
Yeah, but I would say that one at least makes a little more sense compared to some of the others.
But here's what I said, and I actually said this, cheap plug, by the way, on the episode 93 of the Man in the Cage podcast with Jeff Brantley. I explained it like this. When Antonio Inoki, the famous pro wrestler, and Muhammad Ali had that little exhibition thing in 1973, you did not then see Antonio Inoki go, okay, now I'm going to fight Joe Frazier. Now I'm going to fight George Foreman. I'm going to fight Sugar Ray Leonard.
He wasn't trying to fight Roberto Duran.
He wasn't trying to overstep his bounds in any way.
Right. It was a one-time, exhibition, because we had never seen a professional wrestler take on a boxer like Muhammad Ali. Like, again, two of the biggest names in their sport at the time facing off. But I'm saying now my fear is that, and I think I've said this before, like, it feels like that old show, the Celebrity Boxing, that's going to become the mainstream. It's going to take over what the actual boxers themselves.
It's fine when it's a one-off, but when it's all
right. Like, let me put it this way, because one of the arguments is, the fact that you're going to see more celebrities, athletes, and stuff get into a boxing ring. It's going to put more eyes on the sport, which I get. And you know what? After all the down years that boxing has had, and now basically like last year they couldn't have too many big name events because of COVID. It's putting money in the sport. So you can't say that boxing is dead financially wise because, it's drawing the money. But now that being said, you cannot say it is bringing fans to the sport, in my opinion, unless those same fans who have purchased, say, a Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather are going to purchase the Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr. pay-per-view in August, are going to watch Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk fight for 3/4 of the heavyweight crown, and then see Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight in July for the 4th heavyweight championship.
The one issue I have with boxing right now, not the sport itself, but you look at guys like Jake Paul and Logan Paul and the whole YouTubers versus TikTokers. It's destroying the sport because it's not legitimate boxing.
Now, here's what I'm going to say again. To say that boxing is dead, like in terms of a financial thing, no, because the more money, the more these fights happen, the more money it's going to go into the sport. Now, if you're talking about the spirit of the sport, the heartbeat of the sport, like I say, if you're talking about the spirit and the heartbeat and just, the traditionalist sense, yeah, boxing is dead as we know it. But to say, anybody's going to go after me and say, oh, please, boxing is fine. No, boxing isn't fine, but it's not all the celebrities. Boxing has had a history of problems. Guys, right now, we can't, because of boxing politics and the not athletic commissions, the rankings and stuff like the WBO, the sanctioning bodies, everybody's shooting themselves in the foot. And we, every time we try to make an undisputed heavyweight champion, something happens. Like the fact that we've seen all these different controversies, like I'd say we just had Badou Jack, I believe it was, or Jean Pascal, one of the two, basically who were scheduled to be, one of the legit boxers competing on the undercard of that Mayweather-Paul card, and then they popped for all these drugs. That's a blow to the sport. The fact that we have all these different sanctioning bodies, and we have all these different all these different champions of the sport, because of each sanctioning body has its own champion. And in fact, with the WBA, we have a super champion in each weight division, and then a regular champion, and then an interim champion, and something else ridiculous like a silver or a gold champion. To say that these YouTubers and these TikTok guys and all these big money fights are killing boxing, no, it's not. I'll say, and if you're going to argue,
it's already being killed.
If you argue it is, it's only one element of a sport.
It was already being killed from what was going on before the pandemic, before everything. But at the same time, I'm tired of all these. You're seeing it in WWE. You're seeing it in boxing. You're seeing it in MMA.
But again, WWE at least is scripted entertainment.
Yeah, but Jake Paul is going to ruin the sport of boxing. Like he's going to, because
again, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but it's going to take over. The celebrity fights are going to take over the sport. They're going to be the only things that people want to see. And again, you can't say it's bringing eyes to the sport if these same people who are purchasing these freak show fights aren't watching the legitimate boxers.
And
the Anthony Joshuas. No, I'm saying the Anthony Joshuas, the Manny Pacquiaos, the Earl Spence Jr.'s, the Tyson Furies.
And the worst part is that these fights are just...
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter, like from what I've seen, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
They're doing it for the clicks, as Nick would say. It's all clickbait. That's all it is. Right, Nick? And I know people are going to say, at least boxing, there's money. Meanwhile, the UFC, that the UFC is doesn't pay its fighters its fair share or whatever. And yes, that is a fair argument. But don't come after me like that. But then, Clarissa Shields, the greatest women's boxer right now today. She just fought over at the PFL on Thursday because she sees, MMA for women being, better money maker than women in boxing. So don't come after me with that argument. It's fair to say to rip the UFC and say the UFC has to do a better job paying its fighters. But when you're seeing the top female fighter in boxing right now going over to MMA, you're no angel. You're no saint. That sport has no halo and wings around it.
You pretty much said it all.
Okay.
You feel better now?
I guess so. I guess. All right.
Somebody get that man a towel.
I was like, I don't know if the towel, I'm going to use it to wipe myself down to give myself a little more back to normal, or if I'm going to throw it in for the sport of boxing.
I think you just committed a TKO.
All right. So now that that's all out of my system and I'm tired, hey, Nick, I got 3 NBA stories for you. So go ahead. Give me your thoughts on the NBA end of season awards. The MVP, the coach of the year, all that. Let's hear your thoughts.
Hey, congratulations to Tom Thibodeau.
Yes.
Thibodeau was right. I mean, it could have been Monty Williams because the Phoenix Suns are on a roll of all rolls right now.
The fact that the Phoenix Suns looks like it's going to be a Suns Nets finals is actually kind of insane.
I'm excited. We'll get to that in a minute. But
yeah, the Suns haven't been like this since probably Charles Barkley.
No, probably like early 2000s, mid 2000s when they had Steve Nash on their team.
Steve Nash, yeah, the days of Steve Nash.
So, Nikola Jokic, clear winner, MVP. Clear winner. He has been out of this world. By the way, he had a triple-double yesterday, and they still lost. He had a 30, 20, and 10 triple-double, and they lost. So that just tells you that Denver is KO'd, done at this point. I saw defensive player.
They pulled a Lakers-like performance.
Right. Rudy Gobert, definitely defensive player of the year. He kind of reminds me of that Ben Wallace type defensive player from the Pistons days. I don't know. I didn't see the other awards. Those are the two that I paid attention to. But coach of the year, definitely Tom Thibodeau. Tom and I had a discussion last week about he got mad at me partially because I posted a tweet that I said it was a disappointment that the Knicks got completely blown out by the Hawks.
Let me put my 2 cents in. It was not, because they were because they were playing with house money. It didn't matter what they did. They
were projected to win 22 games this season.
And I think Vegas got that wrong.
The team together. He got them to fight for something, and the city is behind them. I'm not going to say the Knicks are back, but they're on their way.
Yeah, Vegas got that
now
number wrong.
Have a core you can build around.
Yeah, and you know what?
Now it's up to James Dolan to not screw that over.
Ah, crap.
You had to say that. Now they're going to do that.
You had it, dog.
I think they were going to do that before I said that.
But now you made it tangible. Now it's on record.
No more. Wait a minute. No more Orange Julius's for you anymore.
Okay, but Nick, now that the likes of the Knicks, the Lakers, the Heat are all out, and the fact that 76ers have their injuries, you said it last week, in terms of the now or never, because we've said before that the Nets need to win in the next 2 years or so. That here it is. Here is the opportunity.
Now. The future is now, old man.
I mean, so their next game is Sunday. They're up 2-1. By the way, I think the referees, and that's been the talk of the NBA playoffs in 2021, they completely missed a call at the end of Game 3 on that Kevin Durant three-point shot. Now, if I remember correctly, maybe the NBA referees do not. There is a rule that there needs to be landing space for your legs when you take a jump shot. And clearly, he almost lands on the defensive player's ankles. That should have been a foul, and that could have been 3 foul shots to tie the game and go to overtime. But what do I know? I think that we're all smarter than NBA referees.
What do I know? I'm just a guy from the peanut gallery.
What do you know? I'm just the 800-pound gorilla in the room. But basically, that's a very old reference that people are not going to understand from a commercial. But anyway, I don't know. It's very odd the way the playoffs are going, but they got the awards right, for sure.
So there's something I've never seen before. That's got to count for something.
Yeah. I say, and it's kind of a welcome sight after all the problems the NBA has had over this last year.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of NBA and problems, hey, let's talk about tampering.
Did you say tampering?
Tampering? Oh no! I'm gonna get fined for saying tampering.
Oh, now you talked about tampering. Oh, now I gotta fine you for tampering. And now I wrote somebody up for tampering. Now I'm gonna be fined for tampering.
Even though the NBA and tampering seem to go, they hand in hand, walk in the park.
I mean, I'm going to say it again anyway, even though you made a face, Tom, when I said it in the promo, which basically Daryl Morey. Do you want to start with Daryl Morey or Pat Riley? I'll leave Daryl Morey for last. Pat Riley makes a statement, I think was it on Twitter or was it on, he's being interviewed maybe?
I think his interview.
Yeah, it was an interview.
And he basically says, I'll leave a shiny key under the mat for LeBron if he wants to come back to Miami. Hello?
Still, there should be a no shit clause on the NBA. You should not penalize people for saying things that are objectively obvious.
I would say, we'd welcome LeBron back. You think after winning 2 titles with him, and hold on, it's still LeBron James. What team wouldn't want LeBron James on their team?
Oh, I wouldn't, but that's a whole different issue.
Let's file that under S for no shit, Sherlock.
I don't know. It's amazing. This goes all the way back to the Jim Gray interview with The Decision, which, by the way, the 10-year anniversary came up last year on that.
Oh,
wow.
God. And I'd say, and LeBron I'll say, and there's a reason LeBron regrets, doing that in that kind of style.
He doesn't regret it. You think he regrets that?
No,
Yeah, I mean, he kind of
doing it that way.
He rubbed Cleveland players. I'd say, not that he regrets the decision to leave Cleveland, the fact that it was done on national television in such a primetime slot.
He's LeBron James. He was at the prime of his career. You think they were going to do it any other way?
Well, that I would say, but part of the blame is also ESPN, because I remember when Kevin Durant was a free agent that they were going to do something special for him too.
You know what? I'm tired of this.
That's what the scuttlebutt was.
The NBA thinks they're so special when it comes to their stars. They're not. Win a championship before you think you're special. I'm serious.
Also, ESPN just has a history of, as of these last few years, we have all these great, baseball highlights, these all great hockey highlights. No, we're going to watch, say, LeBron James eat a sandwich and talk about what might be next for him.
And you know what? I'll give them credit on one
30 minutes of nonstop trailers for Space Jam.
No. We're going to have a whole 1 hour show of nothing but Stephen A. Smith and, Max Kellerman.
No. Stephen A. and Skip Bayless.
That's what I was thinking of.
Commentary track for Space Jam.
Oh no!
Why would you give them that idea? Why?
Because I would pay money to see that. You can't tell me you wouldn't.
But you know what? And by the way, I want to go back to, excuse me, one thing. They raised a lot of money for the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, they did.
So I'll give them credit on that front. But the way. First of all, this was like way before social media became. I mean, we had social media, but it wasn't like it was today. Can you imagine if social media was today back then in 2010 when they did the decision? It's just, you know what? Pat Riley was wrong. He technically broke the tampering rules, but the other situation that I'm looking at on the screen, Daryl Morey needs to learn to keep his mouth shut.
Hey, you think you've had a rough couple of years? You ain't Daryl Morey.
I mean, first it was Daryl Morey tampering with China, and now it's Daryl Morey tampering with the Warriors.
So what he said was, now I'm a little fuzzy on that, so enlighten me.
I'm
trying to find it because I can't exactly find the quote.
But I just think it's kind of funny because the NBA, is the players' league. It's supposed to be the players' league, the progressive league, and everything. And you have players basically talking openly. I would love to play with him and everything. It's like, isn't that technically tampering? So it's kind of there's a lot of
yes, but realizing that the power actually lies within the owners, it technically means more coming from them.
I'm trying to find
Morey, because Daryl Morey made a tweet.
I found it.
It was join them.
Yeah.
It was join them, and I think it's Steph Curry in a photoshopped in the Philadelphia 76ers.
No, it's his brother. It's his brother Seth Curry.
Oh,
his brother.
Okay,
Seth
now
Curry,
I see it.
His brother Seth Curry is a bench player on the Sixers.
Oh, and he's saying, "Come join your brother," basically.
Yeah. So, is it technically inappropriate? Yes, but at the same time, I think we're overreacting.
Again, it's kind of hypocrisy when you're allowed. The players are basically allowed to say, "I would love to play."
Oh, wait a minute! When you get LeBron, who's recruiting everybody from every team, come with me to LA, come with me to Miami. Hey, Chris Bosh, come with me. And the other thing, the team and Daryl Morey were each fined $75,000 each.
Ouch.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, to the team, $75,000 is probably just reaching into their wallet and pulling out a dollar bill, but that's a whole different situation.
That's all right. That's a whole different can of worms here.
All right, speaking of LeBron James, very quickly, Nick, give me your thoughts on his decision to change back from 23 to 6 now.
You really want to know what this is? This is Kobe all over again.
I think he wants to actually physically become Michael Jordan.
No, this is Kobe all over again. Remember when he went from
24 to 8 and then back to 24?
Yeah, that's what it was. Essentially what it was. So
technically, he's not necessarily changing his number. He's just subtracting. He's just doing math.
Well, we all know he's bad at math, so it doesn't really matter. Well, let's
so am I.
Hey. At least he knows what quarter it is, right, JR?
You talk about corny jokes.
Ouch.
I don't know. I really don't want to go off
Please
on
tell me
LeBron
there's a
James.
scene like that in Space Jam. Please tell me Marvin the Martian does not know what quarter it is, and LeBron has to
Guys,
shoot him.
we just passed the anniversary of that, of the 3-year anniversary of that. JR forgot what quarter it was.
JR stands for just realized.
All right, one last thing here. I'd say it hits me a little in the combat sports world again. Ariel Helwani has announced that he is going to be the latest personality, latest ESPN figure to be leaving ESPN.
See, and Nick, I think you'll agree with me here. This is not traditional ESPN anymore of the 90s where...
No, when did you get that idea?
No, I'm just saying that when we woke up and we watched SportsCenter, we saw Rich Eisen, we saw Stuart Scott, we saw Dan Patrick, we saw...
Those guys got me up in the morning.
Kenny Mayne, SVP.
Well, Kenny Mayne no longer, but basically...
Kenny Mayne, SVP to a lesser extent.
Well, SVP... those were the days where SVP wasn't the host. He was always, the main story guy out in the field somewhere.
It's...
I mean, if they could... Well, of course, cross-branding, so it's probably just going to become... They're probably just going to have people in Avengers, people dressing up like the Avengers and doing the...
I hate that, by the way. I absolutely hate that they're doing this dumb promotion with inside their brand with ABC and Disney. Let's have an Avengers
I'm a
game.
huge comic book nerd. Even I thought it was lame.
And you know what? What was it? CBS and Nickelodeon and the NFL games as well. Let's make slime when they score.
Yeah, but you know what?
That actually works.
I was going to say, but at the very...
There were parts of that worked.
But at the very least, you're trying to get kids into your game. The Marvel crossover with ESPN, I don't get
shameless promotion. That's what it is.
That's I was going to say, okay, you know what it is? It's basically ESPN and I'd say it's ESPN holding up the Disney years.
Yeah, it's doing the mouse's bidding.
Exactly.
You know what? It's every time. Den-in-it. Oh wait, I made another penny. Yes.
Ariel Helwani, he's not the first, and he's not going to be the last. I mean, wish him luck. I was going to say everything he does afterwards. But
I was going to say in the MMA Twitter sphere that I'm in, everybody's talking about, oh, Helwani's great. It's a bad move for ESPN, or why would ESPN do this, or why would Helwani do this? For those people who may not be, who are more into the MMA than in the big four sports, those people are missing, quite the information, because this has been going on for a while. From just recently, we had Kenny Mayne, as we just said, leaving ESPN again. And we've had, guys, over how many years now? We've always had at least one day where we've had the big one where ESPN releases a bunch of talent.
You mean the cuts of 300 people's livelihoods?
Because we have to pay... Because we have to pay billions of dollars for the rights to say the NFL or buy the NHL's rights.
You know what?
You're also negative when you use the word cuts. We consider it rearranging. We consider it more of a feng shui of our staff.
And you know what? Like, I'm starting a new job in 2 weeks. I can't really say it yet, but I'm starting a new job in 2 weeks where I'm going back into radio.
The radio business, yeah.
And I've said to myself, I am excited because I originally wanted to work for ESPN. Now I could care less because it's a mauling over there. It's an absolute mauling. I see 3 bears outside the Bristol campus, and they're going and eating everybody. I'm serious.
Wait, and does each bear have a logo on it? Like, one is ESPN, one is the Disney logo, and one is, say, ABC?
They're basically saying, they're saying content. Personalities, we can't have that. We need more sports.
And you know what? It's great on ESPN. It's like them getting NHL is a win, but like them getting the rights to certain things, like them getting back into the NHL game, them getting back into the Super Bowl, pool. It's great on them, but you also need the personalities. You also need the right people to be commentating in a booth and explaining everything.
It wasn't. It wasn't actually the sport. Do you really think I, as a New York Yankees fan, until the day I die, do you really think I'd be interested in whatever the hell Cal Ripken was doing if it wasn't for Stuart Scott and Rich Eisen and the other guys at ESPN every morning telling me why it's important?
Yeah, I mean, ESPN has kind of become the four-letter demise, no longer the four-letter network. It is what it is, but
I'd say that the fact that Ariel Helwani is reportedly leaving for a 1-year deal at the Action Network, which is a very major gambling place, that's a whole other story. Non-exclusive, yeah, but that's a whole other story. And we're going to have somebody this coming Monday. Shall we reveal it? That'll maybe talk a little more about this story and the rest of the sports media industry.
Yeah. So, and actually, we have one more bonus story that I just saw we have to get to. But
okay.
But we're going to have Jimmy Trina, who is the SI Media podcast host, who works for Sports Illustrated. We seem to be very fascinated with the world of sports media in general, right? It seems like where we go.
Sports media. I mean, right. I mean, I'm in it. Nick's in the radio biz. The fact that the landscape itself is changing on its head.
So Jimmy Trina, we are going to be doing that interview on Monday. We'll probably have it ready for Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll decide when that goes up, but that's going to be a good one. But before we conclude, we have time for one bonus story. Did you guys by any chance see what Packers president Mark Murphy said?
I did not.
No.
So Packers CEO and President Mark Murphy calls Aaron Rodgers, quote, a complicated fella.
Which is, I think that might be Midwestern slang for I hope he dies.
But what are you doing?
Gentlemen, are we ready to declare Jordan Love the starting quarterback for the Packers in 2021?
I'm
this close.
I'm going to sum up the Packers situation in one fell swoop.
Jordan Love, you have a lot to live up to because it seems like you're going to take it over this year.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Aaron Rodgers is being a little bit of a prima donna, though. A little bit.
Yeah, but again, this goes back to what I've been saying. Like when we compare it to the problems of other players, like what I said, he could do. Aaron Rodgers has done so much, and especially the fact that he's just coming off an MVP season at his age. He can afford to pull a Le'Veon, basically, and not play this season in order to become a free agent if he had to.
I don't know. Did they decline to fine him during the mandatory OTAs or no?
I don't know.
I believe he was fined.
Because I think it was like $93,000
for each day that he missed. But again,
that's a lot of money.
But he's also made his money.
He's also made a lot of money, so yeah.
Can we just ship him off to California so I don't have to listen to him bitch and moan anymore? I mean, it would be that simple. I mean, what's next? Are we going to hear Dak Prescott is unhappy in Dallas? Oh, wait, he probably already is.
Are we going to hear that? Are we going to hear that Houston has passed on many opportunities to trade Deshaun Watson when they should have? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, that happened already.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the quarterback carousel as it is already. Let's just add another name. All right, Mel, we're going to put the quarterback carousel on your big board now. Todd. Aaron Rodgers is going to.
I'm getting sick riding this carousel, Todd.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Mel? I can't get enough of this.
Just get me some cotton candy and a Slurpee, and I'm good on my way.
You know what, man? I'm just gonna bring out Spotted 2-Wide Banana, and we're gonna draw up a play for where Aaron Rodgers is gonna go.
Oh God,
he's gonna try to recruit Aaron to Las Vegas. Hey, Aaron has named Las Vegas as one of the teams he'd be interested in. Poor Derek Carr. Poor Derek Carr.
Careful what you wish for. You might just get it.
I guess you could say Aaron Rodgers is on the car to Las Vegas.
Stop it! All right,
muted.
Cut him off.
I did already. Okay. Make sure to tune in every week here, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Saturdays, twitch.tv/ETB Sports for all the new editions of Empty the Bench. And don't forget to follow us across social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You see ETB Sports, and you see scrolling across now our own personal social medias to follow us at. And yeah, that's going to do it for this edition of Empty the Bench. For Nick Morganson, Nick Federa, on Tom Albano, we'll see you next week for episode 90 of Empty the Bench. Until then, take care.
Good night, everybody!
Good night.
Thank you.